Peace, family. This is your boy Gerald. It is Friday morning. For some of us on the East Coast, you're dealing with the effect of Hurricane Florence. And for us, we have had a reprieve, which I'm grateful. As you guys know, I spent yesterday preparing. So, of course, I got to put what I needed in the garage away because I plan on keeping it. Moved took my trash cans in. But yesterday was about prep. So as you guys know, had to get my generator up and running, and just stay vigilant. So I wanted to reach out to each and every one of you, let you know that I'm fine. Because the fact of the matter is, you didn't even have to wake up this morning. Let's not get that twisted. So that in itself, I'm grateful. But you know what? You know me. Some of you have been following me for a minute, and those who may just be discovering my channel, peace and blessings to you. In these times, family, just as the winds are going to be blowing, the rain is going to be torrential, there's going to always be movement. And we can use this as a metaphor for our lives because, I woke up this morning, I made my coffee. I got the coffee right there. And the first thing I did was I checked to see if I had reception for my TV. So I cut it on. And I noticed that I wanted to first listen to what the local news was saying. And I, I switched through my channels. And I noticed that they pretty much had the same story, which pretty much was nothing. But that's a good thing, though, because it could be worse. For those who know about Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, Hampton, Newport News, Suffolk, Poquoson. You guys know this area. You know how this area gets down because you're right there on the East Coast. You're right there. We're on the water. So there's certain behaviors you come to adapt to. And the first thing that I realized was no news is good news. But you know what? Even in the midst of preparation, even in the midst of making your checklist and being vigilant to the things that matter and the things that you need to do for yourself, both directly and indirectly, you still got to make a choice. What to entertain and what to prioritize. And you know what was funny? Figuratively, you'll take note for those who are on the East Coast. Did you notice your communication line? So what do you mean, Jared, communication? Did you notice the people that have influence in your life and those who are indirectly connected to your life, how they were reacting? See, some of you may be a little shocked on the reactions that you got because perhaps the phone calls did not come. Perhaps the text messages weren't there. Perhaps the influence or the impact that you've made in your life with your outside reality may not have synced up or coincided. And some, this was a wake up call. Be grateful. No news is good news. But be vigilant. Just be vigilant in what is being revealed and what's being given. Okay? Okay? That's for somebody. Because, an opportunist doesn't need your help to expose themselves. They spend more energy trying to be camouflaged because they're waiting for the reaction instead of focusing on what matters most, and that's your life, your direction. And what is the point of having a direction if you're not willing to make a choice? But how can you make a choice if you won't acknowledge what is present? Then it becomes a delusion. So I had to share this because I also realized that there are some that won't stand on it. And what I mean, you have some people that have made a conscious decision to accept what their reality is, even though they have the power within themselves to change it. And you see it in their behavior time and time again, over and over again. And that's very disparaging and it's sad. It's really sad because what's the point on living your life if it's not the best life? It's going to require work either way. But the sooner you decide to acknowledge what needs to be invested in, you can also, the trade off is acknowledging what you don't need, what you don't have to accept, what you don't have to acknowledge. I'm trying to be PC because I know right now some of y'all are doing what you need to do, and you're going to see this video after the fact. Peace and blessings to you. I hope that everything that you're doing, have done, you're going to be fine. And then there are going to be scenarios where you have prepared, and unfortunately the outcome was not what you expected, and you're going to have to adapt. That's okay. That's all right. Because there's a reason for everything. I remember the other day, some of y'all may know, I kind of mentioned it. I spent almost 7 hours looking for a generator because the way the projection for the hurricane, it was definitely going to do some damage to our area, which guaranteed was we're going to have a serious power outage for an indefinite period of time. That's a guarantee when you live by your. That's a guarantee when you live by the ocean. Guaranteed. Good morning. Long time no see. How you doing? Peace and blessings and safety to you. But I remember there was as I was standing in line waiting for a truck to do a delivery. We have a commercial retail chain that does. Uh, they focus on specialty items for your home and DIYs and stuff like that. And it's called Home Depot. This is no Big ups to them. That's just so happened they happen to be one of the major uh, chains here where I reside at. And because it was a supply and demand thing, there was a more of a demand to to prepare. And one of the things that was required is, hey, look here, if you're gonna stay, be as prepared as you possibly can. And I had made the decision to go out and buy a generator. Those things are not cheap. Those things are like those are investments no different than the automobile that you choose to drive. You had to make a decision. You had to do the research. You had to look at the price point of what you were willing to invest, as well as the outcome of what it will deliver back to you as a result. And I watched people come in, go out, from shingles to buckets to jerry cans for gasoline to wood planks for the windows. They were doing it. They were buying that stuff up like it was gold. And you should. You should. The whole time I stayed in this line. And at first that line was 40, I'd say about 40 people deep with flat carts and all waiting for a truck with no timeline. But they knew that what they needed were generators. I made a decision to wait. And as the first hour turned into the third hour, and the third hour turned into the fifth hour, I watched people come, I watched people go, all with the hope in sight that this truck with no delivery time would show up. Then I got strategic. And I made a deal with another person that happened to be in line that I would go to another store in turn if that said truck would show up to grab two. I exchanged my number with them and I went to the other location. Was I kind of apprehensive because I had given up all that time waiting for a truck with no delivery time, with a possible hope that what it supplied would be there? I did to a degree because I'd already invested 6 hours waiting. But I trusted my action and I went. And I got my reward because the moment I walked in, there were 20 pallets of generators. Boom, just falling on the floor. And people were, you would have thought it was the candy lady and giving out free samples. They were grabbing those generators like it was going out of style. But I kept my word. I called the lady. I said, hey, look here. I got my generator. I'll grab one for you, but you need to make your way. Because they'd already started to, they'd already put that disclaimer, because let's be honest, there's something that people are not talking about. You got some people that they were looking at this possible hurricane and the damage as a come up financially. And it's true because people will always want what they don't have. So I waited. The lady came. I gave her a generator. Went on my way. Still had to work that day, matter of fact, because, military don't stop. Even though I'd already called in, because you got to be responsible. Told them that, hey, if I'm not there by 5, I'm going to take leave for that day. But you know what I did? After I took care of everything I needed to take care of for my home, I took my butt into work because my presence was needed, and I was grateful. And sure enough, the rain just started opening up, acting a fool. But my team needed me. They needed my presence there. They needed my guidance and my direction. And I would do it over and over again because those are my brethren. And we are all unified together no matter what. Now, I throw this out because I had an epiphany during these last 48 hours. And the epiphany I got was, while you need to be focused and vigilant on what you need to do, be mindful for the distractions that will come up, that will systematically cause you to ponder if you allow it to. Acknowledge it, take note, but stay vigilant. That's why I put this title here. You're going to have to make a choice. You going to keep on moving, or are you going to be still? Some will make the decision to stay and be still. And maybe that is what's required of you at that moment, to assess, to reflect, to take stock. You know how that parable, measure twice, cut once? Maybe this is the time that you can proverbially make that tie or make that separation. You have to decide that. This is going to require courage. But people use that word courage too cavalierly. So let me correct myself. This is the moment that you're going to have to acknowledge your true strength. You know, that conversation you have with inside yourself. You know, that's the real you. That's the you that only the select few have earned the right to see. That's your transparency. Because not everybody is going to appreciate that. They're not. And there are going to be some that will take it for granted. But that's okay. That's all right. Measure twice, cut once. No, I did not say take a position to be an ass or be spiteful or be vindictive or condescending. I did not say that. What I'm saying is, now more than ever, see your worth. You're asking possibly, but why do I have to do all that? Because it requires energy of me to do. Because the person in the mirror looking back deserves that. You know how y'all have always heard me echo through the years. Not everybody's going to know your story. Because not everybody's going to earn the right to walk with you. As well, hear you breathe. And that's the reality of life. Because unfortunately, you will have the opportunity to see people for who they are. And those people want your destruction. I didn't stutter. They don't want well for you. They want to see you fall. They want you to break. They want to see you at the lowest level humanly possible through your emotions. Why? because they get off on it. Why? Because that's the level that they relate to. Why? It contradicts their perception. So, yeah, you may be the unicorn to them and they can't relate. But guess what? Don't judge. Don't judge. Don't judge. And this may apply to your most intimate connections, like those who you share blood and bone with, those who look just like you and share the same last name, or genealogy, or lineage. Who am I talking to? How is it possible in 2018 some of your greatest battles emotionally done are by those that you broke bread with? Now, don't get me wrong, everybody's entitled to their opinion and how they see the world, because the commonality is we live in the world. But the fact is, do you choose to look at your life through pain, or do you choose to look at your life through happiness, fear, or just toe the line and be just like them? If it was so easy to be who you are, why is it such a struggle to be that? Let me break this down, because I know some people get tired of me talking in parables and allegory and stuff like that. When the world decides to see the beauty in it, the world will shine. Just as I've always echoed, when the fool acknowledges God exists, the earth will shake. Has she not? Look at the weather the last 5 years. This looks like something out of a movie script, right? Devastation in areas, anomalies occurring, and you're like, how? How is that possible? First of all, who are we to judge what God wants? The first example of that was the flood. Y'all remember the flood? Even he gave Noah opportunity. Why destroy his most perfect creation, man? He said, but I'm going to give you time. Did he not? So sometimes you got to destroy something to make it better. Because you might not see the underlying flaws in it. You might have to get down to the foundation to see that crack. So you're going to have to chip some stuff off. That chipping may require you to change a direction and way you see things. Or maybe just be honest that it exists. You know what blows my mind? And I've had to learn this. This has been a major lesson for me that I've been learning these last 6 years. You realize how many beautiful people are on this planet? I'm just saying that metaphorically. And what I mean is, think about the time when you go out to do whatever. You're in the store shopping, or you're just out, and you just happen, in a glance, you see somebody like, wow, they have some beautiful skin, they have beautiful teeth, they have beautiful hair. Look at their eyes. Wow. And sometimes you're at awe. You're like, man, if they only knew that that's where beauty is found. It's found within you. And really, when you think about it, it's nothing but your spirit resonating out. And I see the battle waged through generation, through generation, through generation. Especially for you, queens. You know I love you. I do. But you have to love yourself more. You have to. And as I say that not to be cliche, but let's be honest. Just as much as we have people talking about the fragmentation of our communities in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, how can that be corrected until that it takes one person to look in the mirror and acknowledge what they see back? I don't mean that in a position of conceit or stigma. You may have a insecurity because you have freckles. You may have a, a disposition because of words that were echoed some time ago, and you never let it pass. But yet we don't acknowledge the strength in that. But did you ever take note where it came from? Did you ever consider that whoever was the orator of those words was deflecting that because they knew that if you embraced what was being conveyed, you would also be embracing their ideology? See, a lot of people don't realize that words have power, but actions make statements. And I'm saying that for somebody because you've tried everything to make it stick. And it's impacted your direction. Excuse me. It's impacted your financial standing. But more importantly, it's challenged your friendships and your bonds. And you're at the point of, well, do I accept it just is what it is? Or do I go a little deeper and accept that, hey, that ain't your fight? This is for somebody. Because we all go through things not at the same time. You may be suffering from the thirst of companionship right now. And you think that if you had that person, they would make the jagged edges smooth and that they would be able to feel that vessel of in your emotion that may have been dormant. You know what? Your greatest companionship that you'll ever come to know is with you. Did you hear me? Because if you listen to how the narrative is with society, and that kind of pisses me off because there's been a social, economic battle waged on my beloved queens, because they've been strategic through propaganda to convince you that, nah, what matters is on the outside. But if it mattered on the outside so much, why do you feel a certain kind of way in the inside? Why hasn't that void been filled? You can walk in a room and shut it down just by your presence and not say a word, but yet feel like the most loneliest person in the same breath. So that's a lie. Sorry about that. Somebody wanted to shut me down. It's all right. It's not my self-esteem that's at stake, but I will big up your self-worth because you're priceless. So I'll speed things up a little quicker. Listen, you ain't by yourself. The people that have your best interest gonna always be there. But sometimes you gotta stand on your own feet, and sometimes you gotta face things by yourself. It's no different than, metaphorically, looking at it from this position. You came in this planet by yourself. You're gonna go by yourself. And what you do between the time of growth to the time that it ceases, you define that. You do. So stop entertaining people that don't celebrate you. No, I didn't say the people that want to ride your coattails, the people that want to kiss your ass, the people that just want to exploit you. I didn't say that. And I'll let you in a little something too, because some of y'all don't know. You know how I always echo, stop worrying about looking over your shoulder and the people that were behind you? You know that was a position of love, right? But I've always echoed, don't worry about it because you'll see them again. That's been my lesson for the last 4 weeks. But that's been a constant lesson for the last 6 years. Because it also defines and validates your character as a person too. Because the one thing that I've come to learn in my maturity, because as long as you're alive, you're constantly growing. And the moment that you decide to stop growing, you die. Because nothing comes out of being stagnant but regret. But I also realized that as long as you invest in yourself, do what's required. Look, you're not going to get the marching band and the confetti every time you do the right thing. That's not going to happen. That's unrealistic. That's made for TV, not made for life. But what you're doing is you're planting seeds in the people that you do come in contact, so that if for some reason, when that path that was once shared with you and them, if there becomes a fork in the road, it is the seeds that were planted in that time, in that moment, they'll take that with them no matter where they go. So if your disposition was uncaring, or selfish, or a negative, guess what? That is the marker that they will go off of. That will be the reference point that they will know. Can people change? Every day, but it's a conscious decision that you are going to go that route. You don't need anybody's position, permission, validation. But that person in the mirror looking back, that person demands it. Just imagine if people just took that approach. You realize how quickly the world would shift? See, you got to bear with me because I'm also getting updates on my side because Gerald's still on call. Gerald got to do what I got to do because, like I said, the military don't stop. So at any moment I have to go. I got to suit up, boot up, and get out there and support. So I'm getting these updates right now across my screen, so I'm gonna have to roll. But I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. But let's look at that dead horse proverbially. If that horse did not have any life in it, why people come in? Why do people willfully give their energy on something that can't grow? Why do they do it? If they know that there's no outcome in it, why invest in it? Or is it maybe a subtle choice of expression, hoping that you will be like them? Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm watching the power trucks go up and down our neighborhood right now. I'm ready either way it goes. Power shut down. I got my generator. Stepped out of my comfort zone. I had never dealt with a generator on my own. Never bought one. But I'm glad I did. Glad I did. Because some of y'all that know me also know that in the next 2 years I plan on investing in property in the mountains. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I can't wait. By that time, probably have a website by then, and you guys will really be able to see my story. But nonetheless, you hear that? The wind is picking up. But that's all right. It's just God doing His work. And as I end this video, because I've been on it a long time, listen. It's even in times of uncertainty, there's still brilliance there. Because anything that doesn't have any foundation will be moved, stripped down, and put to the side so you can go and claim what's rightfully yours. So don't worry about those people. You know how I always used to say, and I still stand on it, the people that you hold dear in your life. If you want to measure your priority and theirs, ask them what their purpose is. And then ask them, what is your value to them? If they got to think about it, don't take it personal. Sidestep it. Get out of their way so you can claim yours. I hope if you're on the East Coast, please be safe out there, family. Reach out to those that matter. Let them know you're okay. And I would love to hear from you guys. And always place God first. Peace.